Good evening, afternoon, night, morning, whenever you find a way to watch or listen to this podcast. It's a bit late out here, but um, joining me is a longtime friend of the podcast and brother in Christ, and Bobby Wilson, the TNT College Football Podcast. And we're here because it is that time of year. Not only is it the start of college football season, but man, it's the start of college football season in the Northeast. And you know what that means? It means the Lambert Trophy is back. The trophy for the best FBS college football team in the Northeast. It's been awarded since I should have put that in the notes if I was going to talk about it, but since the 1930s, I know for sure. And it has recently come back thanks to our friend NEC Blitz, who is just doing a huge bunch of legwork trying to get this award back and running, trying to get the history alive on the Lambert Trophy website. And it's just amazing to see just people caring about Northeast football. And I'm excited to just start this podcast again. We did the Lambert Trophy podcast last year, Bobby and I figured, why not do a ranking since people love rankings so much. People love their own their own preseason rankings. And I guess before I hand it to you, Bobby, like completing this 13 team poll, the poll of the 13 teams that are eligible for the trophy. Like I was thinking, like, man, Northeast college football has never been healthier because not never, but it's been a while in the post Big
It's been a
East
while.
series. Yeah, that has been this healthy. So, Bobby, thanks for joining. And I guess you ready for this season, another season of Lambert Trophy football?
Well, first off, I got to shout out our good friend at NEC Blitz and just the work he did on his preview is fantastic. So glad I bought that and dove into it, and he just did such a great job with that. So I encourage anyone to go get that, go get his NEC preview. Just a fabulous job. But yes, like you said, Omar, super excited, of course, for college football to be back. And of course, with our love for Northeast football, this is just the best time of year.
Yeah, it really is. And honestly, like while we do wish that, we have a Northeast conference, we do wish that the Big East was still around. I mean, at least the trophy is back and we still have just this piece of history, just that teams are playing for and just willing to add to their case and just add to the just rich tradition of Northeast football. That being said, like there's plenty of games like between Lambert Trophy eligible teams throughout this year. We'll get one in week 1. UMass plays Temple. I mean, that won't really have Lambert Trophy implications from both of our opinions, but anything's possible. It's two Northeast teams playing against each other.
Absolutely. Anytime you get like you're saying, two Northeast teams playing against each other, it's going to be a heck of a battle. It's bragging rights, of course. I mean, these people live together, work together. It's a huge thing. And I mean, yes, are both of those teams going to be, from what we're predicting, and I'm sure a lot of people are predicting, are they going to be at the top of the Lambert Trophy rankings when the season comes to an end? Probably not, but it's still a huge opportunity for whoever wins this game to get off on the right foot.
Yeah, and I wanna make a point too, just about the Temple UMass game. Just a point about your primary sport, the sport that you first love, Temple UMass classic A10 matchup. I mean, we may not get
Yes,
Cheney versus Calipari in this one, but I mean, I just can't help but think about those great matchups back in the day when with Temple and UMass, and now they're playing on the gridiron for just the third time ever. But it's still great. It's so wonderful.
it's awesome. I mean, don't get me started on that. Those two, just personalities alone between those two guys, let alone their coaching pedigree. Yeah, man, that's just awesome.
Yeah, I don't see Casey Keeler choking Joe Harris-Simiak and saying he's going to kill him.
Probably not.
I hope not.
Probably not.
I hope not, at least. But just fun, just to joke around about the A10. So to start this off, Bobby, we'll reveal our rankings, and I'll start with you, and then we'll just talk about your methodology and some sort of, I guess, tough decisions, some tough voting decisions that you encountered with your poll. So let me pull this up. Oh, I have it already ready. Oh, that's mine. Okay. Let me.
It's a preseason for us too.
It absolutely is. There we go. And okay, there is your. It's a load. Okay, so there's your rankings. It's a bit small. We're still working on it. The format probably do a picture instead of a PDF here on StreamYard. But looking at your rankings, Bobby, you have Penn State number one. I mean, they're number one in the AP poll. Why wouldn't they be number one in the Lambert Trophy rankings? You got Navy number two, which I feel like we're going to have just a grand conversation about Navy. This is probably the most hyped Navy team since, honestly, the Roger Staubach days, to be honest with you. Pitt at 3, UConn 4, Army 5, Buffalo 6 above Syracuse, Rutgers, Boston College, and West Virginia. So Buffalo is above 4 power conference teams in the Lambert Trophy. And then we got the triumvirate of Temple, Delaware, and UMass to round out the poll. So, Bobby, what was, I guess, take me through your ranking methodology, the thoughts that went through it, and some tough decisions that you made in forming your poll.
Right, and I'm sure we're going to get all kinds of people just really excited about this. But I'll first say the way that I tried to look at this is I tried to put in groups and say, okay, what are the odds that this team finishes in the upper echelon of their conference? That was kind of the original thought that I put into the preseason ranking of this. So I look at like the bottom three that I have of Temple, Delaware, and UMass, and I say, oh, where do I feel like those three are going to finish in each of their respective leagues? UMass, of course, is entering the MAC. Delaware, of course, is entering Conference USA, and Temple is in the American. And although I do feel like Delaware could really make some noise in Conference USA because they have so much back, I do feel like it's going to be very, very difficult for them to be very high on the list of the rankings here, just because of the fact that they're brand new to the FBS and just the changes that are going to be taking place there. So that's the reason I have those three at the bottom. Is honestly just because I feel like from my perspective, they're either not going to finish very highly in their conference, trying to predict that forward, or in Delaware's case, it's just they're quote unquote transitioning. So it's going to be very hard for them to make that jump up. Now, as we play games, obviously things can change. And I can really see Delaware potentially jumping up this list moving forward. And then that next grouping of the four Power Four programs of Syracuse, Rutgers, Boston College, West Virginia, it's kind of the same thing. I'm looking at where do I feel like this group of teams is going to finish in their respective conference. And out of those four, I just don't feel like any of them are going to finish near the top of their conference at all. So I kind of put that into consideration for that and just kind of rank them how I feel they're entering the season. West Virginia is a big unknown with Rich Rod coming home, let's say, and just so many new players and new faces. So that's why I have them lower than everyone else, just because it's kind of a question mark and you just don't know. Boston College, I just don't. I personally, I just don't feel like they have enough pieces to contend in the ACC. Rutgers has an extremely difficult schedule. They could be a decent football team like they've been the past couple of years, but their schedule is so difficult where 5-7 is very realistic. And then Syracuse, I love the coaching staff, but they are going to probably take a step back this year with all the tremendous pieces they lost. So then that leads me to my top six, where I put Buffalo at six because, as we know, G5 programs, it's very difficult for them to rise up in these standings. Now, yes, it can happen. Obviously, Army's been a winner of this award in the past and many others as well. But we know that Buffalo plays Minnesota tomorrow. And if we're being honest, it's kind of a must win for them to, to even sniff an opportunity to win the Lambert Trophy, because they're going to have to perform at a high level and obviously win as many games as possible. But for them in the MAC, is a 10-2 Buffalo team that wins the MAC, is that enough for them to win the Lambert Trophy? They're definitely going to be in the conversation if that does happen, but it's going to be very difficult. So then I go with Army and UConn. Obviously, UConn's not in the conference. I am obviously the most biased person in the world to be talking about UConn football, but I think that UConn football has a real opportunity to win 10 games. So that's why I'm very high on them. Army, you're probably going to hate to hear this, Omar, but I think they take a little bit of a step back from last season just because, I mean, they were unbelievable last season. It's going to be very hard to duplicate what they did. So then that leads me to my top three. I think Pitt has an opportunity to finish in the upper echelon of the ACC. So that's why I put them at three because I think they're going to be a pretty good football team, and I think they have an opportunity to do some big things there. And then one and two, I feel like these are the top two teams, and I don't know. My personal opinion, I don't know how much we can really debate that. Obviously, Penn State's preseason number one in the AP poll. They won the Lambert Trophy last year. They were great, a pretty darn good football team. I don't want to say great, but they were pretty darn good. They went to the semifinal. And then Navy, like you said, Omar, just so much back. Um, just to, they have an opportunity to be really, really good and potentially be that team that makes the playoffs for the G5.
Yeah, so I like your methodology a lot, honestly, and I know there are some differences along the way between ours, but I think it's just a good point too, because just for education purposes for everyone that may not be aware of the criteria for the Lambert Trophy. I know I said myself earlier in this podcast the best team in the Northeast. The actual language is most accomplished team. So, like you said, conference championships matter, which I don't think it would hurt UConn per se, the fact that they're independent, but that's something you want if you are in a conference to win the league in general and have that crown. Really, so that's just a great point, especially like West Virginia, and I think that's one of our biggest differences between polls because no one knows what West Virginia or the Big 12 can be. Honestly, it's actually quite scary. I do like the point
Mm-hmm.
about Delaware though. That was the thing that caught my eye. I was like, man, Delaware is like Temple above Delaware because I'm actually high on Delaware. I think that they will compete immediately in Conference USA. I don't know if they'll win the conference title in their first year, like Liberty, but I mean, I have to think that Delaware looks like a six win team at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like the methodology, and I'm excited to see how it shakes out. I mean, there were a lot of similarities. Um, so I guess going to mine. Okay, there we go. So for my rankings, I had Penn State 1, Navy 2, Pitt 3. So our top three were the same. Excuse me. Number 4, I had West Virginia, just because of the wild card factor, and I'm really excited for what Garrett Green can do in Rich Rod's scheme. Like I'm very intrigued. I don't think it'll be like Pat White, but he had some really good rushing numbers last year in last year's West Virginia scheme. So I think that the randomness of the Big 12 made me put them at number 4 above Army and UConn. I didn't really do groupings. And then Buffalo at 7 above Syracuse, Rutgers, and Boston College because in my eyes, when it comes to most accomplished team, like I would take a 11-1 Buffalo team with the win over Minnesota, or even a 12-0 or 13-0 Buffalo team. Um, or yeah, sorry, let me reword that. I'd take a Buffalo team with the win over Minnesota and winning the MAC over a middling Syracuse, Rutgers, and Boston College team. Yeah, because of course, if Buffalo went 13-0 in the MAC, they'd be higher in my poll, obviously. Um, but so Syracuse, Rutgers, and Boston College, like you said, Syracuse, there's just so many unknowns. Like Fran Brown is an amazing coach and recruiter. Steve Angeli has looked amazing in the small sample sizes that he's been given at Notre Dame, but everything else, like that's just a new roster. Rutgers, I do like what Greg Schiano has done, honestly, in both
Mm-hmm.
of his stints at Rutgers, and like he has his system down pat. But losing Kyle Monangai, you can't overlook that was their offense, honestly. Like Athan Kaliakmanis is a solid quarterback, but he's more of a game manager. Um, and I never like to disparage players. I don't think being a game manager is disparagement. I hope it's not. But that's just my read on Kaliak Manis and since Minnesota. Um, Boston College, again, I think we all know what Boston College is. Like middling, 6-6, 7-5. You can count on them for a good 6-6, 7-5 year. And that'll be that. And that's not bad at all. I mean, it's like we said earlier, Bobby, the Northeast, like college football in the Northeast is healthy. We're down to 10, 11 in. I think we can have, I guess, out of the top 11, 9 or 10 of those teams bowl eligible, like out of the Lambert Trophy teams. And then for the bottom three, like you, I had the same three teams just in a different order. Delaware, like I said, can compete in Conference USA immediately. Their strength of schedule concerns. Temple, I want to buy Temple in year one with Casey Keeler, but I do think that program's a bit damaged at this point in time to have as drastic a turnaround. But I'd say give it a couple years, and like we might be talking about Temple being in the middle of this poll to start the year. And then UMass, I always want UMass to be good, but man, that was a program that was ravaged by the transfer portal. They will compete in the MAC, but I mean, last year they had a lot of close losses that an inexperienced team would undergo. This year they're also an inexperienced team under a new coaching staff, and I just don't see a lot of those close losses turning into close wins for the Minutemen. But I'm excited for what Joe Harris-Simiak is going to do, but yeah, like not really much grouping, but for me it was like I guess I kind of ordered the resumes, the potential resumes that I can see shaking out at the beginning of the season, and that was my rankings.
I'm not gonna. I don't argue with. I'm not gonna argue with any of what you're saying. As I agree with. I know I have West Virginia significantly lower than you do, but I can absolutely see a scenario where they take off and they perform at a high level and they're finishing at the top half, or not even top half, but the top of the Big 12. I think that it's definitely in the realm of possibilities. I don't predict that to happen, but I can absolutely see it happen.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, like and for me, I can see why. Like I'm not defending the Big 12's decision to get rid of the coaches poll at their media day, but I can definitely understand it because that is such a hard conference to predict. I mean, even
Mm-hmm.
last year, like West Virginia had a chance in the second to last week of the season to appear in the Big 12 championship game, and I think they had 4 or 5. I think they had 5 losses actually by that point, and they still had a chance. So it's a really wild conference to really predict, but I really feel like I guess we have a top three favorites in the Northeast because I mean, of course, we're a small sample size, just 2 voters in this poll, but I mean, there's a real feeling that it's Penn State, Navy, Pitt, and a few. I guess I wouldn't say everyone else, but a few maybe dark horses, and then everyone else really.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So going on to some scenarios, Bobby, just for this upcoming season. So I want to ask you just some resume scenarios that we're looking at. I guess I forget when exactly the trophy is determined. I think it's after the end of the season. But so for some after bowl season, I should say. So for some scenarios, so say we have Navy goes 12-0 in the regular season. Sorry, 12-1, loses to Army, but still makes a playoff. Just kidding, but goes 13-0, makes the playoffs undefeated. Would you take Navy over a one-loss Penn State team with that Penn State loss coming to Ohio State?
Man, that's difficult. But I think if they go undefeated and win their conference in that scenario, I think you got to give it to them. I think you do. I mean, especially if that scenario leads to Penn State not winning the Big Ten. Yes, I understand the Big Ten is significantly better than the American. I think we're not going to argue that. But I think if you're an undefeated conference champion and you go to the playoff, I mean, I think you really got to give them their due and the respect that they would deserve at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I guess one note I'll make on that is it's the Lambert Trophy takes postseason results into account, and so the tricky thing with Navy in this situation is can they make a deeper run than Penn State in the playoff? But I
Right,
have to
right.
agree with you. Like, I mean, especially adding in a Notre Dame win, where that Notre Dame win would look a lot, in my opinion, like the 2021 Cincinnati win over Notre Dame, where it's like that win just alone holds so much weight for the midshipmen in a Lambert Trophy scenario. So I know I'm with you on that one. I guess wishful thinking. I always enjoy when the service academies win the Lambert Trophy, and I would love for that too, especially because I won't say that it's kind of a Mickey Mouse and Lambert Trophy in 2018 and 2020, but 2020 for Army, you know, Penn State played an abbreviated season. Army played 3 FCS schools, and we went 9-3, which is great, But it was a Mickey Mouse Lambert Trophy. 2018 can kind of say the same thing too, because I think Penn State went 7-5, 8-4, something like that, and Army. But again, Army beat who they had to beat, and hopefully Navy does, except for Army, and still makes a playoff and takes the Lambert Trophy in this scenario. The next scenario I want to lay out, I'm sure you would enjoy the scenario. So for UConn, wins over Boston College and Syracuse, two Lambert Trophy eligible teams, but a loss to Duke. Is that enough to win the Lambert Trophy over a Penn State with losses to Ohio State and Oregon and Navy with one loss to Notre Dame?
Hmm. That's tough because I think you have to rule in the conference championship at that point. And I think yes, and if UConn goes 11-1, first off, I'd be losing my mind. But I think it's tough. I think it's really really tough. I think UConn's in a really really tough spot because they don't have that conference championship. I think they do have to go 11-1, or if they go 10-2, they really need some teams to falter. Um, but like I said before, I think that's in the realm of possibilities for UConn to do it. But I think if they go 11-1, and you said a like one loss for Navy, or was it two losses, but they still win the conference. Penn State has a couple losses, but they still go to the playoff and still make some noise. I think it's still really tough for UConn to get that top spot. As much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, so part of me too. So I'll be glass half full, honestly. So part of me, I guess if that scenario shook out, I honestly would vote for UConn because of the nostalgia of the classic Northeastern Independent. I mean, and I know that's kind of moving goalposts a bit. It's all subjective with the Lambert Trophy with the most accomplished team, but I mean, I almost feel like maybe nostalgia plays to some voters like myself, where it's like, man, like the Northeast used to be chock full of independents. Like Syracuse won the national championship as an independent. Penn State won multiple national championships as an independent. And it's like, man, like an independent Northeast program going 11-1, like that sounds like the old days to me. So man,
Mm-hmm.
I would I guess it was sort of controversy too for letting nostalgia pick this one, but I would definitely, I would vote UConn over a two-loss Penn State with losses to Ohio State, Oregon, just for the nostalgia factor, just because for the rarity factor.
Well, I also don't want to be too biased either when it comes to that, but it's it. I think it's just really really tough for UConn in this scenario because I think that they just the paths that the other teams have to the success. I think being a conference champion in my eyes is very very important when it comes to the criteria of this award. Yes, it's not a criteria that you win your conference, but I'm just in my personal opinion, I think it's very very important in determining on who the best program is for that season.
Yeah, I think so, because man, Um, I'm trying to think of a way that UConn can maybe spin something, honestly, like into, I don't know, if like maybe because they don't
Well,
compete.
first off, I'll say I'll be the first person trying to get everybody to vote for UConn in that scenario. There's no doubt in my mind that that's going to be the case. Will my thoughts and ideas that I'm trying to portray be bought by the people that I'm trying to sell it to? I don't know. We'll see. But there's no doubt that I would be the person trying to spin that. That's for sure.
I mean, you'll get a number one vote for me if that does happen, because I'm all about, like, even when it comes to my ballots, just like giving honor to just cool things happening. Like, for example, my FCS poll, I'm pretty sure I'm the only voter that gave a vote to Columbia at number 25 after winning their first Ivy League
Mm-hmm.
title in 61 years, because that's just something that's something that you just give respect for, because otherwise what's going to go to a Northeast Conference school or a Ohio Valley Conference school, no disrespect to either of those conferences, but it's tomato tomato with number 5 or number 25 in that spot. In that situation, Bobby, like I would definitely vote for UConn, because man, like this is a Northeast independent, and this is what that is literally what the Lambert Trophy was made for, catering to Northeast
Mm-hmm.
independence. I know it's not 1937, but you know the nostalgia is just getting to me.
We can pretend it is.
We absolutely can. I mean, I guess UConn was nowhere near the public consciousness in terms of football in 1937. I want to say.
Very true.
So, going on to, I guess, my last scenario. So, this one kind of pays attention to more of the Cinderellas in the Power Four realm, where would a one-loss Rutgers, Boston College, Syracuse, Pitt, or West Virginia, would it take the Lambert Trophy? Would they take the Lambert Trophy over a two-loss Penn State with losses to Ohio State and Oregon?
I would absolutely say so. If any of those teams, because let's be honest, I don't think any of us are really predicting them to do that. So I think if you come out there and you do something that none of us think is going to happen, I think you have to give all the respect at that point. Because I mean, yeah, if that team's 11-1, they're winning the league, and like I said before, I mean that's a kind of important criteria for me personally. But like we said too, like it's if you kind of do something that nobody's predicting, nobody's expecting, you're gonna make some real noise when it comes to the final voting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree there. I think the most interesting scenario, I think, where it's kind of a slam dunk would be Rutgers because I didn't realize how tough their schedule was until you
Their
said it.
schedule's so tough.
Like my mind's blown honestly. Like they really got a bad draw, and it just sucks because that's a school, and I know this is veering off to another topic, but that's a school that should take the Indiana approach in non-conference scheduling just to make
Hmm.
bowls. Because I mean, I don't think they'll ever really contend in the Big Ten unless it's a miracle year. But man, they just got a tough draw where it's like not even like this is the team with the talent to make a bowl, like you said, but man, with that draw, and even if they beat all those teams and lost it, and oh shoot, I shouldn't say lost to Penn State because that would just create a really crazy situation. But I mean, even if they beat Penn State and lost the other teams, like man, that's a just that's an arduous road that deserves honor for Rutgers at least.
Absolutely, and like we said, I mean, if they're the team that does it, that goes 11-1, absolutely they deserve it. Even 10-2 against that schedule that they have. Everybody, go look it up. You need to go look it up. It is extremely difficult.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess no more bold adventures for Rutgers, but hopefully they'll prove me wrong because it's just been great what Shiano's been doing with that program the last 2 years, at least, or yeah, 2 years at least. So away from the scenarios, going to dark horse teams. So I have a feeling I know how you're going to answer this, but who is one dark horse team in the Lambert Trophy race that no one's talking about?
Okay, so we all know my bias. We all know where I want to go with this, but I won't, just for the sake of it, just to be professional, let's say. I'm going to go with Buffalo because I think Buffalo has a real opportunity to win the MAC. And if they win tomorrow against Minnesota in particular, really springboard themselves into an opportunity to do something special. And they have a tough MAC schedule that will really test them for sure. But that's a really good football team, quarterbacked by former UConn starter Taquan Roberson. And they have an unbelievable running back who everybody needs to get to know. There's some really talented pieces there. And yes, they lose Sean Dolak, who just made the LA Rams roster, by the way. Good for him. I'm really happy to hear that. But they got some more guys back there who are really talented. I'm going to go with Buffalo Bulls to be that dark horse because I think one, they can win the MAC, but two, they have an opportunity to get a win over against a Power Four program to really make some noise.
Yeah. So I had a slash for mine because I'm on the same page with you. Like Buffalo, that's the team too. Like not many. I guess for a Group of Five program, there aren't many Group of Five programs where you return 1,000 yard rusher. That's an
Hmm.
underclassman. A lot of times they just jet. Like we saw it with Ahmad Hardy going to Missouri. Unfortunately, I mean, good for him. I mean, he's probably getting some life changing money for that. But man, it's gotta be rough for these for Group of Five programs. Even Army had it. Like we had 1,000 yard rusher transfer to Arizona State, which all the best to Kanye Udo. But man, like it's tough. But for Buffalo to return 1,000 yard rusher, that is such a huge advantage that I mean. I wouldn't say people are overlooking, but that's just something that people take for granted, honestly, in this day and age. And then Taquan Roberson, very experienced, so talented. Like I'm excited to see him against these MAC defenses. I mean, he's had wonderful moments during his career. So I think also too, like I think Roberson's a bit of an upgrade at the quarterback position as well. I mean,
Hmm.
Buffalo did great last year. I mean, their quarterback play was good, but man, like Robertson will take it to another level along with the running game, which his name's escaping me, but I just know he's a 1,000 yard rusher. I think it's Alge. I think his first name's like
Yeah,
Alge Harris, I think, or I forget his
yeah,
last name.
Alj. Yep, yep.
So he's phenomenal. Like Buffalo always gets great backs. I mean, yeah, even going back to like James Starks, like those days, like man, I don't know how they
Hmm.
do it, but they got great backs. So I am going to be biased for you, Bobby, and for my dark horse team. Talk about UConn, and I really do think that there is a path for UConn to win the Lambert Trophy with help. I think a lot of the criteria for the Lambert Trophy is wins over Lambert eligible teams. That's something with Penn State that NEC Blitz wrote in the write up for them winning the trophy, where they had wins over Lambert eligible teams. I want to say it was like Rutgers, and then someone, or I don't even know if they played Rutgers, but
West
they had
Virginia.
West Virginia, right. West
Hmm.
Virginia, even though West Virginia was middling at best, but that matters in this criteria. UConn's got the
Hmm.
path with Syracuse, Boston College, and Delaware also too. So they have three Lambert.
Buffalo as well.
Buffalo too. That one could be of course, that one could be a Lambert Trophy elimination game. And then there's just so much experience on offense too. Like this is a team that, um, they got a taste of winning. Like they got a taste of being a consistent winner last year. There's confidence in the program now. The schedule is so favorable. I will say though, something that could be a twist is the Air Force Academy coming down to UConn November 15th. I mean, man, talk about a trap game for the Lambert Trophy. I mean, you could have very well have a one-loss UConn team, one or two-loss UConn team playing Air Force, and then Air Force comes in with the option and does what Air Force does. Honestly,
Hmm.
uh, so I mean, I'm excited. Like the UConn schedule is the most excited I've been about a UConn schedule in a while, honestly, because there's a little bit of everything for everyone. But man, that's just such a talented team, and I mean, you've covered them at length, Bobby. Like, but it feels special. I will
Hmm.
say though, I think in terms of I wonder how much bowls would play into effect for UConn, because UConn will probably get the scraps of what ESPN or the Group of Five conferences don't want. So I kind of wonder if UConn's situation would put them in a suboptimal bowl, or I guess any bowl's good, but against a suboptimal opponent, maybe a 6-6 or a 7-5 Group of Five team, just because I guess it's not in ESPN's best interest to serve UConn. I mean, not just in football. I mean, even in the Big East, like you know, ESPN hardly acknowledges the Big.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
There's NBC and Peacock though, which that's exciting. I'll just play Round Ball Rock on loop if I were if I were
Yes.
you. But yeah, so I do kind of wonder too if a suboptimal bowl opponent would come into play there. But yeah, like UConn, I'm really excited for this team because I feel like this is like the big mystery of being an independent. Like with an independent schedule, it's like anything is really in the realm of possibility. With
Right.
records and season paths. So UConn and Buffalo, that's going to be an amazing game, honestly, and I'm excited for
Yes.
both of them.
Well, it just makes you wonder, like, what would UConn have to do realistically to even be considered for a high ranking? And I'm not even just saying like playoff perspectives and such. I'm just kind of saying like what it's kind of a question mark. Like even a 10-2 UConn, are they even considered for the top 25 rankings? Because I think there's that national persona of being like the independent that's not Notre Dame. That is there's just you just kind of you're just kind of an afterthought in some of those discussions.
Yes,
It irks me as a fan, but I just wonder from the national perspective, like what really would UConn have to do to get into that discussion?
yeah. So that being said, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that I can relate to as an Army fan. In our run
Hmm.
from 20, and I'm pulling up the schedule right now. Our run from 2017 to 2018, where in 2017 we went 10-3, 9-3 in the regular season, but we didn't get in the rankings at all. Um, at one point we were looking at the schedule right now. We were 8-2 at one point, and then of course lost to North Texas, which of course killed any dreams of being in the top 25. But we weren't ranked at all. 8-2 with a win over Duke, not ranked at all. Was really tough, honestly. But there is that stigma where it's like, who are you playing as independent? If you're not playing like Notre Dame, I mean, we played some solid teams in 2017, some solid teams that went to bowls. I mean, we played Ohio State, obviously a good team that year, but Temple went to the Gasparilla Bowl that year. 2017 Air Force didn't go to a bowl. Duke went to the Quick Lane Bowl that year. North Texas was solid, I think, that year as well. Yeah, North Texas went to the New Orleans Bowl that year. Navy went to the Military Bowl. So we played a few bowl teams. I mean, they were there on the schedule. But again, like you said, like that perception of being an independent. And then 2018 was absolute worst because I wouldn't say it was absolute worst, but I would say it was also kind of frustrating because that's the Army team that almost beat Oklahoma in overtime. But
Mm.
it took until the Navy game on December 8th for Army to even be ranked at all. They're ranked 22 in the AP poll, despite having a 9-2 record, only losses to Oklahoma and Duke, wins over Buffalo, over a 10-win Buffalo team, wins over a win over a bowl-bound Eastern Michigan team, and that's it, honestly. But again, I think what killed us too was our stretch, because there was a stretch in November, back-to-back weeks we had Patriot League teams. So it's not that bad for UConn, thankfully. I mean, I'm glad that you guys are able to schedule without having to resort to two FCS teams, which made me think
Mhm.
that there was a way for Army to do it. But I love the American. I actually I committed to being the American Conference fanboy. I have to follow through with it. I'm not going to entertain any independent, wishing I was independent, or any talk like that, or any conference realignment talk. So I have to buy into the fanboy stuff, but that's another thing. But I do understand that, and I will say from my experiences as independent, I kind of wonder. I'm like, man, like, what is there? I guess what does our peak look like? Um, so I know it's a philosophical type of thing as a question as a UConn fan, but I think it's something that I guess you guys ask all the time. Like, and this whole Lambert Trophy discussion kind of brought it on.
Right. That's a real thing. It's like, how high can we really get without being in a conference? And obviously, our leadership is doing everything they can to get us in the position that we feel like we deserve to be in. But again, we just got to continue to prove it on the field. And last year we did. We got to go out and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I mean, as a huge defender of bowls, a top 25 ranking in a bowl game against a power conference team, or a bowl game in a historic venue, like that's enough for me. But I can tell that you and other UConn fans want much more for your program than, the rose tinted old school point of view.
No, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I mean, if we can win double digit games and win a solid bowl game, I would be thrilled with where we would be, because and then I think that's realistic as well. I think it's realistic for us to say, like, okay, we're 9-3, we go win a bowl game against, we beat North Carolina last year. Let's say we beat another ACC opponent in another bowl game. I think if we do that, we go 10-3 or even better. I think that's just, I think it's icing on the cake, really, because it's like, at the end of the day, look where we were in 2021, when I started covering this team. Hey, I'm not going to sit here and complain about that. We lost to Holy Cross and we barely beat Yale, so I'm not going to complain at all.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that as an Army fan, where it's like, man, like, who am I to complain about? I guess it was good. I guess in retrospect, like 2022 and 2023 were good, because I'm like, man, I'm complaining about a 6-6 year where we didn't go to a bowl. I'm like, man, this sucks, but this is good that that's where this program is at. Um,
Right, right.
so I mean, we'll see with UConn. I know this kind of became like a mini episode of your podcast, just talking about UConn philosophy,
Oh
but
boy.
it's still intriguing. It's intriguing.
Yes, yes.
So I guess that being said, this should bring our first podcast of the season to a close. This was definitely a pleasure, Bobby. I always enjoy doing this. I enjoy, it's always just kind of crazy, just like, man, like how far, I guess, how things come full circle. Like growing up as a kid reading about the Lambert Trophy, just online as a kid in middle school to, covering it and voting for it. Man, God is really good, and God brings things
Yes,
full circle.
yes,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
it's just amazing. I'm excited for this season, for this for the season of Eastern college football, and I want to see like 9 or 10 Lambert Trophy eligible teams in bowl games. I really do think it's realistic.
It's realistic, absolutely.
So this is the healthiest that Northeast football has been in a while. Bobby, thank you for joining. Do you have anything final to add before we put a bow on this?
Again, as always, thank you for having me, Omar. I'm always appreciative of being able to discuss things with you and our friendship. I look forward to us doing this throughout the season again as we continue to. We'll have our rankings. We'll put them out. We'll continue to talk throughout the season about the Lambert Trophy, and we hope. Well, I hope, and I know you do as well, that listeners enjoy our perspective that hopefully that we bring to the table. I will again do everything that I can to be as unbiased as possible. I can't promise anything, but I will do my best to do so. And for anybody listening, feel free to follow me at TNT College Foot One on Twitter, X. My podcast is on Spotify, TNT College Football Podcast. So again, appreciate it, Omar, for having me.
Yeah, thank you again, Bobby. I value our friendship, and I mean, shoot, don't worry about being biased, because man, if Army beats Kansas State, guess who's going to be number one in the Lambert Trophy rankings of September, the week of September 8th through 13th, or whatever it is. I mean, so I mean, I don't blame you at all, and but I think that this poll is protected enough against bias, but not that we're going to show it.
Right, right.
So until next time, everyone, thank you for joining. Thank you again to Bobby for just a great conversation about this trophy. And Lord bless you, Lord keep you, make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you, and peace, love, and soul, Burger Popper.